All right, guys, coming back for our next round of 5 questions. In this exit ticket. So this one, the whole point of this one is to let you know that you don't have to know what any of this really means to get the questions correct. So, number 1, according to the information presented in the passage, that means we're going to be looking at the words. Which of the following stages or subpaths should contribute to the smallest portion of the total solar neutrino flux on Earth? So, neutrinos are subatomic particles, speed of light, electrically neutral. Generally accepted that power the sun creates vast quantities as byproducts. 3 proposed stages. Excuse me. Of the most important solar reaction are shown in Figure 1, along with the subpaths. Equation for the subpaths are shown in Table 1, as are the predicted neutrino energies and fluxes. So, let's go back here. Should contribute the smallest portion of the solar neutrino flux. So, the smallest portion of the solar neutrino flux. So I'm going to look at the expected flux here. I'm going to find the smallest one. That is the subpath that says B8. Let's look at our answer choices, but those aren't our pathways. Okay, so we want the stages, right? Because it says which of the following stages or subpaths. Okay. Oh, actually, you don't have to look at Table 1 at all. 10% is this stage. This is 12%. That's 0.01%, and then PP1 is 88%. So the smallest percentage, right? Because the portions here. So 0.01 is PPIII, which isn't in our thing, so what's our next smallest one? PPI is 88%, PPII is 12%, BE7's not on there. So of this list, it's going to be, let's make sure we have all the paths. PPII, PII. So it is the 0.011, 0.01%, and that's going to be D. Alright, of the neutrinos that are produced in the subpaths described in the passage, which type can have the greatest energy? So the greatest energy, if you look on here, the neutrino energy, that's 1405, and then below that is 1.44. So we have these ones. Those are the path names, but let's see what we're looking at. So N1, N2, N3, and N4. Alright, so N1 goes to N2, 0.25, 99.75, N3, and N4. So N4 is B8, and B8 is the time that we're looking for. So the answer is J, N4. So that was a 2-part question. So when we go back here, first step is find the highest energy in the table, and then 2, look at the figure and find, so that gave you B8, and then find B8 to figure out the N pathway. That one is pretty confusing if you don't know where to look. Alright, 3. Based on the information presented in the passage, the percentage of solar neutrinos produced by BE7 subpath 2 is approximately. So, BE7 goes from 47 BE7 to B minus. Okay. And based on the information, the percentage of solar neutrinos produced by the BE7 subpath 2. So I'm just rereading the question. BE7 subpath 2. So there's our subpath. BE7, that's 2%. And then there's N2. So that's our neutrinos too. And let's see where we go from here. So, based on the information presenting in the passage, the percentage of solar neutrinos produced by BE7 subpath 2 is approximately the percentage of neutrinos that are produced. So BE7, here's my subpath equation, plus B goes to Li7. Be, by the way, is beryllium. So these are elements that they're talking about. And then that'll be plus beta, that's like a radiation stage, plus my neutrino with a volume of 0.38, and then this is the flux around the Earth. Now, we need to figure this out. So, here, we're at BE7, and then you have a 90% contribution from N3 and a 0.25 contribution from N2, but this is also BE7++, so this is the one we need to circle. So make sure that you're circling the right one. So that's 10% on the sub pathway, but of what percent of that? So this is where this gets confusing. The pathway here is responsible. So the PP2 pathway, that stage, is 12%. And of that stage, that's what this arrow means, BE7 is 10% of that. So that means it's 10% of 12%. So that would be, and if you know this from Miss Wall's class, that's 0.1 times 12. So then the answer is 1.2. I'd say that one is probably the hardest question in this passage. So if you did not get it, no sweat. That one's really hard to map out because you have to do actual math. Okay. Solar neutrinos are detected through a reaction with 37Q, for which the minimum neutrino energy is 0.8. Of the neutrinos in the passage, this method would detect. So the neutrino energy is 0.8. So that's 0.87. That one's 0.38. Then we have 0.87. So it's probably not going to do that one because that's too much. So we want the ones that are under. We're going to want the neutrinos that are under 0.8. So it's not going to be our 14.5 and probably not going to be our BE7. So that looks like PP1 is going to be good. PP2 and B8. So it's not going to be PP3 because that's too high. PP2 might also be too high. So only neutrinos produced in PP3, we know that's not true because that's B8 and that has a 14. Only neutrinos produced in the BE7 subpath, that's 0.87. Some of the neutrinos produced in PPI, PP2, and PP3. So, and then all of the neutrinos, we know it's not going to be that one. So I'm going to be between G and H here. Now let's see. PP1 at this contribution. So PP is 0.42. It can't be PEP. So that one's out. So I know it can't be all the neutrinos for that one, but it is that one. Then in PP2, it can be BE7 plus, but it can't be BE7 plus. And then it definitely can't be B8. So it looks like we have some of these pathways. So our answer here is G. So this one you had to find less than 0.8 in each pathway. And then select your answer choice. That one was really only 2 steps. Find everything that was less than 0.8 and then match the best answer. All right, last one. The symbol beta represents a beta particle, a particle emitted during nuclear decay. Beta particles may be positively or negatively charged. During which of the following path are beta particles emitted? So let's see. That's on the first side, or on the second side. So emitted would be like, when did those pop out? And so it looks like PP. So that's PP1. And then it looks like B8, which is PP3. Oh, so we're supposed to look at there. Okay, so what particles is that? That's PP, and that's B8. During which of the following pathways are beta particles emitted? Yep, so that's PP and B8. Again, so that's PP, that's B8. Our answers are 1 and 3. So the answer to number 5 is B. And there you have it.